Three drinks the kings of Korea once poured vanished in a single colonial year. For an entire century, no one came looking for them. Even their names were forgotten. Today, I want to tell you the story of those three cups. For 1,000 years, Korean mothers brewed alcohol at home. In 1918, there were 375,757 households licensed to brew. 14 years later, in 1932, there was only one. What happened in between? The story begins in three cities: Pyongyang on the Taedong River, the old hanok streets of Jeonju, and the bamboo groves of Taein in Jeonju, a small town in southwestern Korea. Each city held one drink. Joseon counted these three as its most precious liquors. In Joseon, Korea, only one person was allowed to put this single character on a bottle. That person was the king. The character was ro, the word for dew. Sweet gam red hong and dew ro came together as Gamhongno. Only liquor brewed inside the royal pharmacy, the naeguk, could carry the character ro. So people called this drink naeguk Gamhongno to mark it apart. In the early 1800s, the scholar Lee Kyuk-young wrote it down like this: if China has its 5 fragrance dew, then we have the Gamhongno of Pyongyang. 40% alcohol, a single red drop holding the time of a king. In Jeonju, Korea's most beloved love story, there is one scene. The young woman Chun-hyang pours one last cup for her lover Mong-ryong as he leaves for the capital. The drink in that cup was Gamhongno. Almost every Korean has heard of this scene, yet few know what the drink actually was. The second drink came from Jeonju in the south. Its name was Igangju, pear and ginger. But pear and ginger are not the only ingredients. A native rice wine made with native nuruk fermenter is distilled into native soju, and then aged with Jeonju pear, bongdong ginger, cinnamon, turmeric, and honey. 5 ingredients, 5 long months of resting, and only then does 1 cup finish. The third drink's name ends with the character for medicinal salve, Jukryeokgo bamboo juk extract, ryok and salve go. Green bamboo is slowly heated for a week to yield a few drops of liquid, mixed with herbs and distilled into a medicinal spirit. It was first brewed in a herbal medicine clinic in Taein, and it was a remedy, first a drink only by accident. At the very moment these 3 drinks stood at the peak of Korea, a single sheet of paper was being prepared across the sea. The moment when all 3 cups would be sealed at once was drawing near. In 1909, a single piece of paper began to lock up an entire country's liquor. It was the Liquor Tax Act issued by Japan's Resident General Office, Korea's first indirect tax, and the first time brewing required a license. A blade of colonial finance, dressed up as administration. 7 years later, in 1916, the liquor tax ordinance arrived. Minimum production quotas wiped out small breweries. Heavy taxes were placed on home brewing mothers. And nuruk, the fermenter that makes Korean liquor possible, was forbidden. The drinks did not disappear, the hands that brewed them did. In 1918, Korea had 375,757 households licensed to brew at home. By 1932, there was only one. 99.9997% of Korean mothers had lost the craft. A 1,000-year tradition was cut in 14 years. In 1934, the liquor tax ordinance was revised again, and the home brewing license was abolished entirely. The earthen jars in Korean kitchens were left empty. The drink of kings was gone, and the drink of mothers went with it. When the writer Cho Nam-seon listed the 3 royal liquors in 1929, they were already almost a memory. 50 years passed. In 1986, the late Lee Gyung-chan was designated a holder of an important intangible cultural heritage. The family recipe for Gamhongno, hidden like a secret, was finally called by name again. This was the first point at which a lost Korean cup began to fill once more. Today, Gamhongno is brewed in Paju by Lee Ki-suk, the daughter of Lee Gyung-chan. Igangju is kept alive in Jeonju by Master Cho Jung-ha-young, who has tended it for over 50 years. And Jukryeokgo is carried on in Taein by Song Myung-suk, following the recipe of his great-grandfather's pharmacy. 3 drinks, 3 cities, 3 pairs of hands, all at once. On October 10, 2014, Gamhongno was added to the International Slow Food Ark of Taste. A global list of foods at risk of extinction now holds Korea's royal due. A drink Korea almost lost is now being protected by the world. 3 drinks the kings of Korea once poured vanished in 1932, and 100 years later they returned in the hands of 3 masters. The moment a single drop falls into a Celadon cup, a broken 1,000 years connects again. Next time you receive a cup of Korean liquor, take a second to imagine what kind of time is sitting inside it.